I'm throwing a 3/8 swim jig. I'm casting over in this hole that you just see me throw in. It's got water that flows into it. It's been raining a good bit. The water's real murky. That's where I'm imagining the fish to be. So that's the first place I'm going for. A lot of people like to, shoot short and, pick the place apart for, to pick up that extra fish behind it. Not me. I'm not saying there's a right way or a wrong way, but I'm going straight for the honey hole. Most of the time, whenever you catch a really big bass, you did not make that cast on accident. Um, I'm not saying it won't happen, but so I'm using a 7 1-to-1 reel. It's not super fast, but it's not super slow. I can speed it up, I can slow it down. I'm throwing this swim jig. I'm fishing about 4 foot of water. I'm letting it fall, and I'm kind of feeling the bottom as I bring it back. I'll give it a little twitch every now and again, and I'm using a 7/6 rod. So you don't have to move it a lot to get the action there. Uh, it it's not as accurate as a smaller rod, but I prefer to do less work. I make a bunch of casts. So you'll see me go back in the hole again. I cast it to the side. I don't want to sit there and hit the same hole over and over, the same cast. But it's probably gonna spook a fish in my mind at least. I don't want to have to set the hook really really hard when I do get bit. I just want to apply pressure and start cranking on it. So this is the cast right here. I get all the way up in there, make a good cast, bump it one time. There he is. He bumped it. I didn't even set the hook really. I just applied the pressure and just started cranking. And you'll notice I fight the fish, fight the fish. He was running at me, so he gets to the boat pretty fast. Well, when he gets there, I want to keep at least about 3 or 4 foot of line out of my rod. I don't really like using a net. It takes too long to get to. I'm in a crowded boat. So I just wear the fish out. I make sure I keep a bunch of line out of my rod. A lot of people mess up by reeling it up, thinking the more you reel it up, that's getting it in a little closer. Well, that's where they lose a bunch of fishes at the boat. Go ahead and wear the fish out. See that? The swim jig that I'm throwing right here, it's just a Walmart special. The swim bait is actually a little different on the fish you just watched, but this next clip, that's exactly what I'm throwing. Is with that Gary Yamamoto swim bait trailer. You'll see me get a little excited and try to set the hook on a fish instead of to apply pressure and crank. This is actually the day before the previous clip you just watched, and it was first time I've even threw a swim jig in a while. I get excited and I like to set the hook, so I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate with that. There's actually grass that grows out over the edge of the pond, and it's fairly steep drop off. It's not very deep altogether, but it drops on down. So the hungry fish, they're going more or less be up there towards the edge. They're going to be the easier ones to get that bite, and that's why I'm focusing on the edges more. It's hot. This is, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock in the day. So I'm I'm limited on my amount of fish that I'm gonna find up there in the shallow water unless they're up in the grass. So I'm beating the edge. I'm moving. I'll cast and then I'll go, 4 foot down and make another cast, and I'll try to pick structure or a small cove or a point. I'm aiming at something every time I make a cast. There are a bunch of bowfin or mudfish in this pond. It is overpopulated with them. So I'm actually fishing a fluorocarbon leader about 3 foot long, not for visibility purposes, but just so the mudfish don't hit that braid and the teeth cut my line. Fluorocarbon is a little more resistant. That's the reason I'm throwing it. It's 17 pounds. Oh, let's see. I should hook onto this fish sometime soon. I ain't no pro at this editing things, so you're gonna have to work with me. I'm getting better and better with it. I think it's the next cast. As soon as I make this cast, you see me miss the fish again right there. Sitting trying to set the hook. This next cast though, he actually takes it as soon as it hits the water. It's on. I like it when they bite it like that, especially when it's the first time fishing a certain bait at a certain place. I made a video and posted in a Facebook group the morning when I was headed to the pond here, asking, if everybody tends to throw the same baits or new baits. I got some different responses. There he is, hooked up. Cranking, cranking, cranking. You see I didn't set the hook that time? I got him. That's the difference. It really, really makes a difference when you're using a 7/6 heavy rod. It ain't that big of a fish, but it's a good one. He's solid. Shortly after this, I run out of battery, so I didn't get my 8-1 on film, but I did post a picture of it at the end. I hope you guys like my video. If you do, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. It'll help me help you. I'm gonna try to teach y'all what little bit I do know and bring y'all some big fish footage. Pretty little chunk, about a 3-pounder. I caught it on the swim jig. Throw it and reel it. Ain't nothing to it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to hit me up. I'll answer what I can. Don't forget to like and subscribe.